Hi, everybody, and welcome to a new episode. Now, we are officially almost at the end of season 6. I hope the episodes are also blessing you, that you are learning something, growing from these episodes and understanding a lot. I myself, am becoming so much more of a student, to these episodes. And I'm absolutely grateful for this platform and grateful for the opportunity to be able to even share, the things that the Lord is teaching me, with others, But without any, before I, turn it into a whole different conversation, to stick on topic, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode. We are talking about fasting. All right, so God's intended for fasting, why we should fast, the benefits of fasting, okay? Because a lot of the times we do this thing as an obligation, and sometimes we dread it, because it deals so much so with the flesh, and we're asking ourselves constantly, like, why must we do this, or what benefits are there? And sometimes we even miss the whole point of it, because when you do something by obligation, it becomes a religious activity and you miss the purpose of it, because then your body is in it, but your heart is far away from it, But I want us to look at God as one thing. And that's a friend. So above and beyond the Father, and He answers our prayers or anything, He's also a friend, okay? So picture Jesus as a friend, that He's saying that, hey, when you fast, what you are basically doing is you are silencing all the distractions in your life and you're giving me your undivided attention. And in order for us to understand Jesus, we must understand things in a human context. For example, if you have a friend or you are visiting a friend and you're telling them, hey, look, I'm going to cancel all my appointments today. I'm going to come to your house. We're going to spend time together. But like literally 100% of the time, you're on the phone, or rather your friend is, visiting you, and they're saying, okay, I'm going to cancel all my appointments, whatever it is. And they're visiting you and you're like, okay, let's do this now, whatever it is. And they're on the phone and they're focused on other things, it would affect you as a person. So we must not take away emotions from Jesus, because though He's God, He has emotions. He feels, He also gets grieved by things that we do, all right? So when we are fasting, picture Jesus. So Jesus is the president of the world, right? But let's bring it into a more lighter context to say, okay, picture Jesus as the president of a country, right? And he says, hey, look, there's some things I want to do in this country, There's some things I want to do on earth. And, he sees that there's a gap there in media, there's a gap in entertainment, there's a gap in acting, there's a gap in maybe modeling or, music or whatever it is, or even politics and things like that. Because remember, when Jesus calls people, not everybody's going to stand before a pulpit and preach to us. No, you're going to be called to those spheres, politics and all of those things, every area is a calling, all right? But he says, hey, look, there are things I want to do on this earth, but no one wants to pay the price to spend time with me. So if you're friends with the president of a country and he says, look, I've got all the money in the world, I've got everything you've ever wanted and you've ever needed, but I need you to spend time with me so that I can make you understand what I want to do. Even he says in his words that I don't call you what they call is basically servants or something like that. I call you friends, because servants don't know what their masters are doing. But he says that everything that the Father has told me, I have told it to you. Basically, as I paraphrase what he's saying, So what he's basically saying is, hey, look, I'm your friend, I'm the president of this world, I'm the president of this country. Look, this is what I want to do in this area. But if you're not close to Him and there are so many distractions, you won't understand your specific calling. And then you will start, looking for, what can I say? You start affirming your calling in following other people that are not following Christ, okay? So Jesus wants to do different things on this earth, okay? So though you have a similar calling as someone, it's not that you're going to deliver your ministry the same. So if I'm called to politics and a friend of mine is called to politics, though we are called to politics, the message and the way in which he's going to use me in politics to bring certain policies to the earth is different from you. But what distinguishes us is proximity to Him. So God is literal wisdom. I don't even know how to put it in words. When I say He's wise, you will attribute it to characteristics. When I say His actual wisdom, I mean, my goodness, it's mind-blowing the things He can teach you and show you. That are beyond earthly knowledge, So he may want to implement certain things. He may want to put you in certain spaces so that you can be an example to other people, so that your lifestyle, maybe some of you are called to entertainment, media, something like that. Your lifestyle must paint a picture of him. All right? So we must understand that when we are fasting, we are saying that, hey, look, I'm putting away distractions to spend time with my friend. Because if I want money, trust and believe Jesus can give you anything and everything. But proximity tells you why he's giving you the money. All right. So when I'm close to Jesus as a friend and I'm fasting and I'm spending time with him, he says, hey, look, since you put away distractions, I can now speak. So it's not that he's not speaking. Fasting just brings us to a place where we can now hear clearly what he's saying. So he may be speaking to you about, hey, look, this is what I want to do on the earth. And I want someone to transfer money to. But I want them to do this. And yes, I will give you your share to have and enjoy and have a good life. But this specific area, this is what I want to change. This is what I want to do on the earth. Hey, maybe you want something from him and you're like, God, I really want to be in, medicine or whatever it is. But you must understand his heart and his purpose towards those things. Okay. He must also purify your motives and things like that. So let's say, for example, someone wants to be in the entertainment industry for the sole purpose of gaining traction and following or whatever it is. That thing will consume you and literally kill you. All right. So he's saying, look, I don't have an issue with you doing that. I place that desire in you. Okay. And we must go back to him and ask, is this desire from you or is this something I gathered up because of what I watch or whatever it is? So it's important to also seek him. Fasting, you're also getting your purpose from him. Why am I here on this earth? What do you want me to do? So fasting draws you to Jesus and distinguishes you from everyone else. So if you want to make an impact on this world, it is impossible to do it without fasting. You want me to give you Bible for that? Jesus Christ, for example, before he takes the cross, before even his ministry, right? Before the ministry that he had where, that 3 years he was delivering people and everything, he had to fast for 40 days and 40 nights. Literally after just being baptized, and God confirms that this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. He's now sent into the wilderness by the Holy Spirit, right? And he's tempted of the devil 40 days, 40 nights, fasting, Then the devil, after those 40 days, 40 nights, tells him, turn these stones into bread, all of those things, right? So it's not to say everyone is going to fast 40 days and 40 nights. No, but it's to say that we need to have or live a fasted life. Because if you want to make an impact on this, in this earth in this world, you need to have proximity to the person who created it. Because remember, we are here to fulfill a mandate. Because God set principles in order. So he refuses to move outside of a body, okay? Because it's a principle he created. He's just, okay? So he must honor his character in honoring the principles he set in place in his word, okay? So he now says, okay, I'm not going to move on this earth without a body. So I need to look for someone who I can put myself in and then use them, okay? So imagine somebody who's literally, for example, you're in politics or whatever it is, and people are praising your politics, your policies and everything like that. But you know full well that had God not met you, had God not known you, you wouldn't have any of that knowledge, all right? So God says, hey, look, no, I'll let you shine. I'll let people clap hands for you or whatever it is, but you must be the one to return the glory back to me. But fasting is, bringing you to that place. Like, hey, let's exchange knowledge. Moses, when he goes into the presence of God for 40 days and 40 nights, he comes up with the 10 commandments. He wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, meaning God gave Moses insight into what happened even before Moses was born, even before time, at the beginning, literal beginning of earth. God is giving Moses revelation, exchanging knowledge. So what more can God tell you about your life, number one, about the things he wants to change in your family, Because a lot of the times we are, so comfortable with the, things that are happening in our families. But what if God wants to change certain things? What if God wants to free people in your family or change things or break chains in your family, So you gain power from God, number one, all right? So you go to God in fasting. He's saying, okay, look, I'm going to give you power because, I'm the president of this country. I have access to all the resources. I'm going to give you power to have access to all the resources that I have. Then you go to him. He says, no, I'm going to give you knowledge now. Second thing, he's going to give you knowledge when you're fasting. Hey, look, What do you think about this? What will I hide from my friend Abraham, he says in the word. So he's telling Abraham about Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham has nothing to do with it besides Lot. But because they are friends, God is telling him, hey, I want to destroy that city. So now Abraham is the reason why God took Lot out, then destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. But if God was just, normal, casual, he would have destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah with Lot in it. All right. So your friendship with God and your fasting life is interaction. It's communication with Jesus. So you are putting aside distractions to focus on your friend who matters most, who says, look, a lot of these things that you're focusing on and that you're striving for, they're not even what I've called you to. And they'll lead you to an early grave if you keep going in that direction, because you compromise yourself and put yourself in spaces and places where you could lose your life. And that's not what I've intended for you. I've intended for you to live in life and life in abundance. So now he's saying, hey, look, I want to deal with this area. I want to bring you to this area in the world, and this is what I want to do in the world, and I want to change this policy, and I want to change that. But he's not going to work outside of a body. He's going to partner with man to change the earth. So every sphere and area that God has called you to, you can't change it without fasting. It's impossible, because you can't be able to tame your stomach. And remember, once you tame your stomach, like once you're able to deal with hunger or overcome, that thing of your belly dictating what you do, you overcome so many things, because it builds self-control. You're able to completely defeat, the lust of the flesh. So it's things like this where he's saying, hey, look, come to me, let me change a few things about you. Let me show you what I've intended for you. Let me show you what I want to do on the earth. And you won't change things without fasting or proximity to Jesus Christ, because how will you know what you're created to do on this earth? Otherwise, you're just going to look at things and look at people. That's why we have a lot of people replicating the same thing. You have 10 people making the same sound, doing the same thing, and you ask them, hey, who's your inspiration? Oh, no, it's that guy. So we have basically a multiplication of 10 people who are not making a difference. Because remember, then if you are following someone and, a human being is that objective for you, their ceiling is your ceiling. But when you meet God in the place of fasting, you are literally saying, okay, I've met this person at this place, but I'm going higher, because God is in the business of changing the world through us. All right. So that's all I have for today. All right. I hope that this episode blessed you guys. I hope that it highlighted the purpose of fasting, because it's about relationship, proximity. So if you want to change the world, if you want to make a difference on this earth, if you want to do great things for God, you must have a fasting life, because he'll give you power, he'll give you knowledge, and he will give you a message, resources, and the reason why he's sending you to where he's sending you. All right. So I hope that we live and have fasted lives. I hope that this highlighted something and changed something, and brought us to a place where we understand the importance of fasting. Remember, this journey with God is about relationship. He wants friends and not people who, just, are striving or, doing religious acts, because if I have a friend, or if you have a friend, you don't want them to be doing things because they're obliged to, helping you because they're obliged to, giving you things because they're obliged to, but you want people that genuinely just want to be around you. So if we want that for our lives, how much more Jesus Christ himself, who had to lose his life thinking of us, each and every single one of us that are watching. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And I hope that this message blesses you guys, that it charges something in your heart, and that it develops a fasting life, because if you want to make a difference on this earth, if you want to overcome certain giants and demons in your family and all of these wars and battles, and if you want God to use you mightily on this earth, there's nothing else I can say. You cannot go to anything or anyone else but to God. And his instruction will be fast, so that I can be able to reveal myself to you. Because he's saying, fasting is basically saying, remove distractions. I want to speak. So it's not that he's not speaking. He's speaking every single day. But you have the stresses of life, and you want to strive, and you want to fight for this and fight for that, or whatever it is. And he's saying, look, I can't speak in that kind of atmosphere. And, it will force me to then wait on you and wait for you to stop doing what you're doing. And time is going at that. So we need to make sure that we have a fasted life. But I love you guys. And I will definitely, and hopefully see each and every single one of you in the next episode. Love you guys.